So, welcome everybody to tonight's webinar on the Blue Rose. It's lovely to see you here live with us. Also, we have about, I don't know, over 100 people have signed up for this Blue Rose work. And yeah, it's very much calling us all. So, I'm going to start off with tuning in so we create sacred space together. Just take some deep breaths as we come into sacred circle. And just feel yourself ever so gently slowing down a little bit. Your day, your morning or your evening, whatever time it is for you and whenever you're watching this, just, come down just a little bit. Feel yourself dropping down into your body ever so gently, ever so slowly. All is well. All is well. All is well. So I'm going to be taking us through some slides that I've prepared and seeing what comes up with each one. I like to have a certain amount of stuff prepared and then see what intuitively comes through for us. So I will pause regularly to tune in to the Blue Rose lineage to see how they want to move forward. So I'll do that right now. Just have a little tune in. Okay. And all is well. They're saying all is well. That's good. Let me just, I'm going to be flipping in a little bit between the slides and talking to you, and hopefully I can manage that. When I get a bit too right-brained and a bit too into a state of trance, it can get a little bit complicated. But I'll do my best. I'll do my best. So let me just, I've got to be able to share my screen, haven't I? Oh, where have we gone? There we are. Yeah. Oh, why have I got that on there? Go away. There we go. So first of all, I'd just like to welcome you to this webinar. I have been working with the Blue Rose lineage this is the third year now. The energies came in long before that, but I'll tell you about the story as we go through. But it was about 3 years ago that I started working with them seriously and kind of full time, if you like. And the first year was me getting taught the things that they wanted to teach me, or wasn't really teaching me things, more putting me through a process. And then the next year, I worked with 2 groups sharing that process. And then the next year, I did it again. So each year, I've come on and done this talk and shared you know, where we're coming from at that point. And it's quite exciting each time that I do it, because the work has deepened and expanded each year. And so I have a slightly different viewpoint each time. And I'm going to start, let's have a look. I'm going to start just by sharing what we're going to be doing today. And so I'm going to be talking a bit about why now? What does it mean? Because I'm really aware that everyone coming to listen to this webinar is at different places. Some of you will be at a point where I was at the beginning, where I was like, who's the Blue Rose? No idea. But there was a curiosity. And some of you will have some experience. Some of you will have worked with me before. Some of you will have a really deep connection and just maybe want to hear what I have to say about it. I'll be talking a bit about how we can respond to their call. So I will keep coming back to this slide as we go along so that I can go through the points. We're going to do a really special exercise. I'm going to show you a really special exercise for standing in your sacred sovereignty with the Blue Rose. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful exercise. And I'll be emphasizing what the magic of the Blue Rose is and what that might mean for you. I'll be talking about how you can go deeper with the lineage, and then we'll have channeling and questions at the end. I'm imagining this is going to take about an hour and a half. And that's usually a good amount of time, because we all want to have a break after that, I imagine. So let me just rustle for a moment with my bits of paper. And just tune in. And I want you to tune in as well. So I'm inviting you, if you're in a safe space right now, to close your eyes. Take some deep breaths as we call in the lineage around us. As we go through, I'll be telling you more about what the lineage is, but for now, we're just going to bring in their energy. And we can do this by imagining that they are creating a circle of beautiful blue light all the way around us. We can just imagine that the Blue Rose lineage are creating a circle of light all the way around us. And we are standing in our own inner circle. And then around the Blue Rose lineage, there are the angels of the Blue Rose lineage. And they have a colour of white with beautiful rays of blue dancing through. And they have a very high vibration, of course, because they're from the angelic realms. And they have a very strong protective energy as well. So they're creating a circle of protection around all of us. And just feel yourself being held by that lineage. Feel yourself being held by that lineage. And then as we're going through, your connection with the Blue Rose lineage will deepen. And each time that I'm needing to change slides or taking a pause, you can also go back to tuning in to this circle of light and just feeling yourself breathing in their energy. And all is well. All is well. All is well. Just breathe that energy into your whole body. Feel yourself being held. So, to give you a bit of background, my name is Rachel Goodwin. I'm a channel, a spiritual teacher, an energy healer. I teach systems of healing. I teach mystery school wisdom teachings from Ascended Master Sarah, who's the daughter of the Magdalene and the Master Jesus, and from the Blue Rose lineage. And all of this work is very much connected up with the new earth and the new humanity and our evolutionary progress on the earth. So I tend to work with women and men who are really interested in their own personal and spiritual development, and also just not their own personal and spiritual development, but also with working in a bigger way somehow and fulfilling a soul purpose on the earth. And I help people really connect to those things and remove some of the blocks. I work a lot with energy and initiations and help people find their truest potential. So many of us have this inner feeling of just knowing there's more. And yet here we are on the earth, in really difficult and challenging times. This is not an easy time to be walking the earth right now. I'm sure many of you can agree with me on that. And yet we have this incredible opening up to divinity, to spirit, to the Ascended Gaia, to the cosmos. Which kind of leads me on to the next part of the slide. how did the Blue Rose work come about? So I've been a channel for Sarah since 2006. Before that, I was an energy healer. I was a priestess of the goddess, priestess of Sophia and Shekinah. And Sarah very much came out of the blue for me, as most of my work does. I never know what's coming ahead, really. And it was the same with the Blue Rose work. So I was out for an evening walk. I have a son who's 11 now. He has a diagnosis of ADHD and autism. And it's not often that I'm out in the evening having a bit of a walk, because I'm usually too tired, to be honest, by then. But I'm pretty sure this was during COVID, that 2 years time, that time where we were sort of in an altered time and space, really. And I went for a walk across the road. There's a park opposite where I live, and I live in a town called Roskilde in Denmark. It's full of sacred springs and really, really interesting earth energy lines and ley lines. And I walked around some ponds that are in the park over the road, and then just stopped under some trees at a place where there was normally a bench, but that bench had been removed for some time and hadn't been replaced because, of course, like the park workers were all on furlough because people weren't working because of COVID. And where the bench normally was like all these like little cobblestones. And I was standing on these cobblestones. And when I'd been out for my walk, I just kept getting fixated on Venus. She just kept, whichever path I took, whichever way I was walking, I kept seeing her all the time. And then finally, I thought, oh, I feel like going and standing over there. And I did. And I was just taking some breaths and looking around, and there was Venus again. And then this energy just started coming down through me. And, you know, this sort of thing happens to me, not all of the time, but from time to time. And this beautiful energy was flowing down through me, and I was just rooted to the ground, and it came down all the way through me and down through my feet and into those stones. And it was just lovely. I was in such a state of peace and love and serenity and tranquility, and, you know, all of those things that we really like to feel, but don't necessarily feel as much as we would really, really like to. And that went on for some time, and then it stopped. And then I'm like, oh, I better be going home now. And off I went back home. And I didn't think that much more about it, to be honest. And then after a while, I started noticing that whenever I walked past that point, that energy was still there in the stones. And to start off with, you know, I just thought, just imagining it, you know. I tend to think that quite a lot to start off with things. I just think, oh, I'm imagining it. And then after a while, I started to get a bit suspicious that perhaps the energy that had come down into those stones had stayed there. And by this time, the Kamuna had put the bench back. And I thought, oh, perhaps I better go and sit on that bench and see what this is all about. And I could feel that the energy was there, but I didn't know what it was. And then I interviewed a lady called, oh, Sorry, my memory's terrible. I know her name so well. She has a website, Blue Rose Healing, Mary Tobin. And she works with the Blue Rose Lineage. And I interviewed her. I have a podcast called Sacred You Podcast. And from time to time, I do some interviews. And she was talking about the Blue Rose energy. And I read a channeling on her website and I realized straight away, I could feel it. It was the same energy. This is the Blue Rose Lineage. So to cut a long story short, they called me to work with them, and that is what I started doing some years ago. So I'm just going to pause here for a moment. Let me just do this. And where is my... I think I've stopped sharing now, haven't I? I have. So where's my... So just feel yourself tuning into the blue rose while I can't see how to... Oh, there it is, the view. I'm just going to put us back on the gallery. So before I go on, I just want to hear from some of you what's calling you with the blue rose at the moment. Is there anyone who'd be happy to just speak to that for a moment or two and just tell me a little bit about why you came, basically? You can either, yeah, Lindsay, just unmute that. Thank you. Hi.
Hi everyone. I had a lucid dream, a very vivid one, and it was Mother Mary that came to me, and she was requesting I open like a Facebook group for the Blue Ray. And I'm like, what? Are you sure this is right? And I got confirmations from Spirit. Yes, it was right. And so I dug deeper into this Blue Ray. And the more I did and got a better understanding of it, I was like guided to, yeah, like Mary Tobin, her book. And when I heard it, I started like bawling. And it was just like this knowing of like, I felt like I knew her and like everything and the Sophia Code and everything. And so then I started being like, okay, well, maybe I'm a part of this. And then I started looking more into it. But the more I learn about it, the more it just like resonates so deeply with everything like I am. And even like you said, like knowing there's like a bigger purpose that I'm supposed to be a part of is like, but yeah, and it's just been great. And I did that last Blue Rose thing that you had, and Joan of Arc stepped forward and just so powerfully for me, and it was just so cool. And she's just like such an amazing powerhouse. So I'm really grateful you're doing this, and it's really appreciate the information and knowledge, and you stepping forward to do this and help people. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. That's lovely. That's so great. That's so great to hear. Would anybody else like to say a couple of words? Did I see somebody else waving?
Hi.
Hi, Pamela. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi. I'm tuning in from Lake Atalan, Guatemala, but I'm Chinese, but from Singapore. Yeah, I think I've been working with the rose medicine for a while, but primarily the red, pink, and yellow roses first. And I think similar to you, I had a very deep, for me, it was a full moon night. I was at the sea doing my offerings, moonbathing as you do. And I was also drawn to Venus as well. And I was getting a lot of downloads about a blue rose, white dove consciousness, and what I was meant to bring forward. I'm still in the process of it. But I'm at the cusp of birthing the blue rose medicine that wants to come through me more clearly. It's been coming through a lot of sessions with clients, but I've not named it, you know?
Mm.
So I'm at the cusp, and then so yeah, just really curious to hear more about people who have been connecting with the Rose lineage and meeting fellow Rose priestesses, because it's always such a deep joy. And for me, it's interesting because I channel Mary Magdalene a lot, not so much Sarah, but I think it's quite wonderful. I've actually met a lot of Sarahs, which makes sense, you know, if you're working with Mary Magdalene. So yeah, I'm just really glad to be here. Lovely to expand my embodiment and radiance of the rose medicine and walking in love. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. That's lovely. Yeah, I meet a lot of Sarahs as well. As it just seems to organically happen. It's so interesting. Is there anybody else who wants to say anything before we move on? Anybody else wants to raise their hand if you're... Are you trying to say something? So yes.
Yeah, sorry. I just briefly lost you because I'm doing this on the mobile at the phone, and so that's why I'm looking a bit weird as well, because that's how I'm holding the thing is. Well, for me, it's like I just feel I really need the energy of the blue rose, because there's been so much going on in my life, and I just feel totally exhausted on every perceivable level. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I just feel like completely dried up, and I just kind of need that healing, really. And yeah, there are a lot of energies going on at the moment. I mean, everybody's feeling that, and I think it's astrologically and otherwise, and it's quite a lot to process, because we're in our frail humanly bodies, and we're supposed to kind of earth this energy, and sometimes we think like, oh God, there's so much going on in the world, and what can I do? And I feel so powerless, and I've run out of energy. But I think we just need to remind ourselves that um in big time, in space time and everything, this is just a blip, and and yeah, we just if we just content ourselves with kind of grounding the energy and knowing that we're doing our bit, I think that's important. Otherwise we might feel overwhelmed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's sometimes less is more, and we need to step back and sort of acknowledge our own need for that energy. And I think particularly as women, we're always expected to be there for everybody else, and people tend to forget that we need care and nurture as well. And sometimes the only way to get that is to withdraw and just sort of tend to your own needs and try and get the peace and quiet you need, because you can't run on empty and support everybody else. So that's not possible, so that's where I'm at the moment. And I'd like to do more blue rose work later in time, but I just don't feel like I could I don't have the energy to be more active at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I hear you, Sue, and I know you've had, a lot of stuff to go through this year as well, and it's
yeah.
really important to do things in timing with yourself. So I really respect that. But I really hear you, sister. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Okay.
Yeah. So that's great. Really bringing up so many things that I have found working with the blue rose. And oh wow, I can see someone's written in the chat. What's that? Pamela says, I honor you showing up for yourself, Sue. Going inward and refocusing on self-nourishment can sometimes be the best way to show up in the world. You got this. Absolutely. So let me just have a look again. Oh.
Candace wants to speak.
Candice.
Yes, hi. Hi, Rachel. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Hello. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm tucked away in a basement at a church right now. My friend's presenting, and so I came to be with everyone, but I said I have to go at 11 Mountain Standard Time. So I'm down in the basement. I don't miss these. I found you, Rachel, about 2 years ago, and have loved your work. I'm also in a lot of gratitude for you bringing it forward. So mostly I wanted to introduce myself, and I'm very drawn to this work. I work with the Sophia Code in and out of it every day. So I'm a Sophia Circle leader, and just work with the Magdalene energies and have done so much healing. So I haven't got an official sort of invitation call from one of the Ascended Masters to say, you must do this, but it definitely feels like home. And these energies that you've been bringing forward, Rachel, have felt like home for me from the beginning. So I just have a heart call to be involved. So that's where I'm at right now. And I just wanted to say thanks and hello and to all the beautiful faces. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's lovely. And it's a very bright basement that you're in. It's not too dark.
And one gigantic fly that's buzzing around my head. So I'm trying to pay attention. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it's lovely to see you again. Okay, now I'm going to say a little bit about what the order of the blue rose is, or the lineage of the blue rose. And I tend to prefer calling it the lineage of the blue rose, because when I see the lineage, they're in a circle, and that's so divine feminine to see them in a circle. When I hear the words the order of the blue rose, it sounds much more hierarchical and sort of like, I do use that phrase though, but I just prefer calling them the lineage because it fits my energy better. And so there's different people working with the blue rose. There's not a lot of stuff out there about it though, to be honest. And anything that I'm saying, I'm not saying this is it, this is the truth. This is just what I've experienced, and I'm sharing this in, the spirit of passing it on. And I'm all about inspiring other people to find out what their experience is. So I've experienced the lineage of the blue rose as a divine feminine order, seeded by the divine to make sure humankind never completely lost its way. That has come through with the energy. This is an ancient order that has existed in many, many times and many, many places under different guises and different names, but with this same strand, this same energy. And it's the time now for it to be rebirthed in this time and this place on the earth through all of us. So this blueprint of the blue rose has been held through all of time by men and women. It's a divine feminine order. Yes, it is. But of course, we all have divine feminine and masculine within us. Just as in past lives, we've been men, we've been women, we've had the whole experience. And it's possible for us as women to work with the divine masculine, just as it's possible for men to work with the divine feminine. So when we tune into that blue rose lineage, it's not just the vibration. of the blue rose, which I call the blue rose flame, but as already mentioned, you could call it the blue rose ray, or the blue rose light, or the blue rose, whatever kind of word. People tend to use words that work for them. And all of these men and women have been holding that vibration of the blue ray, and they are the ones that are accessible to us in the lineage. It's so much support for us. And it's interesting because I can't remember exactly when I started working with the divine feminine and realizing that I had that capacity, because, you know, I really wasn't brought up in that way. I was brought up Church of England, but really an atheist, to be honest. Nobody had any interest in psychic stuff or spiritual stuff in my family, and I was brought up to be quite cynical. And I guess it must have been in my early 30s that I started to experience, well, no, I have told this story on the podcast. My mother died when I was 26. And that was when I opened up spiritually and was very aware of my mum's spirit being around. And I had always had these experiences, but denied them very, very powerfully, because honestly, they really scared me a lot. Had some quite unpleasant experiences when I was a kid. And then when my mum died, I loved my mum. I loved my mum so much. And I missed her so much. And there was no way I was going to deny myself that I was experiencing her in spirit, because I was. And then, you know, I went through all these different things and trained as a healer and became a priestess, and I've never stopped learning in all those years. You know, like many of you, there's just been so many beautiful systems and different things that I've learned. And then at some point, spirit just started teaching me directly. And I don't so much study other people's systems anymore, because I'm too busy like working with the ones that spirit have given me and developing those. For me, the Blue Rose lineage, there's so much humanity in it. Yes, there's all these beautiful energies. You can see there, and we're going to call them in a minute so you can like experience this. But we've got Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, her daughter Sarah, Ishtar, Inanna, Isis. We've got these Egyptian energies coming in. They work so much with the cosmic energies. Hathor, Bridie, Brigid, Venus, Aphrodite. And they're goddess energies, they're ascended master energies. El Moria, King Arthur, Excalibur, the Knights of the Round Table. You've got that really strong, masculine, protective energy. The Lady and the Priestesses of Avalon. There's so many different kind of spiritualities and countries and cultures all mixing in, and yet somehow it all really, really works. Sophia, Danu, Eden or Ethan, she is a Nordic goddess. She has a basket of apples and is really, really connected to New Earth energies, the way that I've experienced her. Baldur, another Nordic god of the sun, Sarasvati, Kali. It just goes on. There's so many. And Joan of Arc is very beautifully woven in. So it's an order for the new earth. It transcends culture, geography, and religion, and it belongs to all of us. It belongs to all of us who feel called to it. Belongs to all of us who feel called to it. So Let's just call them in. And I'll mention some names because it's really powerful to do that as they come in. But you can add in any more that come to you. You can also write them in the chat as well, so that other people can experience it. So we're bringing in another layer now, another deeper layer. Oh, so just close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so, and just feel that circle of blue light that surrounds us. These holy women, holy men. So we call on Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, her daughter Sarah, Morgana, Morgan Le Fay, the priestesses of Avalon, Bridie and Bridget, Joan of Arc, Jeanne d'Arc, Hildegard von Bingen. I have Kamara, St. Francis, King Arthur, Elmoria, St. Germain, Yeshua Sananda, Lady Portia. I have the cosmic energies of Venus, the ascended cosmic energies, the Pleiades and Sirius, the Archangel Michael, Melchizedek, and the angels of the Blue Rose. Just feel their power and support standing around you. The gods and goddesses, Hathor, Isis, Sophia, Shekinah, Venus, Aphrodite, Bastet, Seshat, Danu, Ethan, Ishtar, Nana, Saraswati, Kali, Kuan Yin, Odin, Demeter, all the named and unnamed, the lineage of the Blue Rose, stand with us now. And they're stepping forward to support us in these times that we are living in. They are stepping forward to support us so that we really know that we're not alone, and their support is so tangible and so incredibly felt. Just write it in the chat if you have more names coming through, and I'll just read them out. Tara, green Tara, white Tara, Kuan Yin, Melissa, the bee priestesses, the snake priestesses of Minor, the priests and priestesses of the temple of Poseidon, the priestesses of the temple of Apollo, the Delphic oracles, the Pythia, priestesses of Minoa, white buffalo calf woman of the Lakota people, the Libyan Sibyls and Yamoja, all of these beautiful energies. Queen of Sheba, Grandmother Anna. We also often have Merlin coming along, although he seems to be very independent and just stepping in and out of the Blue Rose, although he works with them very much. The Grandmother Council. We give thanks to all of these beautiful energies. Give thanks for their love and their support. Yemaya and Mazu, the mavens of Minerva. All is well, all is well, all is well. They stand with us, and their numbers are legion, and their presence is divine. All is well. All is well. I'm going to move on now, but you can stay in those energies as I talk a little bit about why now. And I think I wasn't going to do this, but sometimes when I'm doing a talk or a class, it's just like, this is the moment to stop and to channel and just see what they have to say. And so I'm gonna do that now, because it feels like they want to say something about why now. So I'll just go quiet for a moment, and then when I start speaking again, it'll be the Blue Rose lineage coming through. Blessings, blessings. We are the lineage of the Blue Rose. Our blessings are upon you. Just take a moment to imagine a circle of blessings taking place all around you. Beautiful, sparkling blue light. You are living in a world of polarity. And we step forward now to keep that polarity in balance. We offer to keep you centered within the divine and say that it is possible for you to do this, staying centered in the divine at all times and at all places. And this is where you are moving towards. You are the pioneers, you are the forerunners of being fully embodied in your divinity upon the earth. Embodied ascension. And there are so many who have been here before you, who hold keys and codes. The time is now. You will know when to step forward, when to step closer to us. You will know. You will not be in doubt. You will feel the call. You will receive the signs, the beautiful omens. You will know. You will feel it in your body, in your heart, and in your soul. These are interesting times that you are living within. And we offer many tools, many helping hands, healing, compassion, and love. We are with you. We are with you. We are with you. You are never alone. And all is well. All is well. All is well. One of the teachers who I've had, who I never met in real living person, and yet I would still very much call him a teacher, was a Hindu priest who was American. His name was Thomas Ashley Farrand, and he wrote some amazing books. One of the teachings that he talked about was that in times on the earth where things become very dark, that one of the aspects of the divine, Vishnu, sends forth avatars of himself to come down onto the earth and give hope, give healing, create miracles and divine light. And as some of you know, I work with Sarah, the Magdalene's daughter. And I've done this for a lot of years now. And I've been approached by so many people who feel they are aspects of Sarah. So rather than just one person being Sarah, there are multitudes of people carrying aspects of her energy and grounding it down into the earth. And I feel a bit the same with the Blue Rose Lineage energy as well. There's something about community in our time and how important this is. There's so many people embodying the energy of the Magdalene as well in the same way. And the Blue Rose Lineage, let me just I think I'm getting ahead about myself a little bit. Let me just show you this slide. So going back to that thing I was saying about this is an ancient order coming back. And each time it comes back, it's always slightly different because it's what is needed for that time and that age. But we are rebirthing ancient wisdom. And what really powerfully comes through with the Blue Rose is that it's cosmic. It's really, really cosmic. Now, for many, many years, I have been going to a very small island called Malta, and also Gozo, or Aldesh, as it's also called. And I didn't really know why until the Blue Rose Lineage came along. And then I started putting the pieces together. So in Malta, they have ancient temples. And Malta's really a rock in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean. And yet the energies on it are like nothing else. They're incredible. And these temples that our ancient ancestors built on Malta were aligned to Sirius. And as precession changed in the stars, and so they appeared slightly different to us on the earth, they built new temples that aligned to where they were now. And this is one of the things that's just become so clear in the last few years of working with the Blue Rose, is that in so many past religions, as priests and priestesses, we have brought through cosmic energies and built temples that through their stone grounded and anchored those energies. And so this was a channeling that I brought through. And I'll just read out the whole thing. So our ancestors aligned their temples to the stars, and they anchored those heavenly energies into the earth for the highest good of all. And this is the channeled bit. We are those priests and priestesses, the temple builders come again. We are starseeds who come from the starry skies to be living anchors of the Blue Rose energies on earth. Now is the time. We are the lineage of the Blue Rose. Blessed be. Amen. And so this is it. In this time and this place that we're living in, many of us don't have the opportunity to build a temple, and yet we can be a living anchor of the Blue Rose through our energy body, through our bones, through our physical body. We're like walking temples, anchoring down these energies. Yes. So I will be given an opportunity for a chat at the end. So if you have questions, you can ask me and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm just going to go on to the next part now and say a little bit about what are the Blue Rose here to do. And again, you know, this is my take on it. This is what I've experienced working with the training that I've done and shared with other people. So, relevant to this time, this place, what are the Blue Rose here to do? And I've written, if you're listening to this, you are a magical spiritual being with divine gifts. You are a magical spiritual being with divine gifts. This is something we've lost the memory of. We've forgotten this is part of our humanity, that divinity is part of our humanity. First and foremost, the blue rose energy, where we are right now in our development, is they want us to be ourselves. Because there's very few of us that can actually manage that 100%. And that's the feeling we have within us of, we know there's more, because there is. But we have a lot of challenges with that. We have a lot of ancestral layers weighing on us. Our ancestors haven't done their ancestral clearing for a really, really long time. And this isn't about blame or pointing fingers. This is just kind of how it is. The culture that we're in has a lot of really unhealed stuff around people who use their psychic, spiritual, or magical abilities. So the things that the Blue Rose want us to work on is healing the witch wounds, for a starter. And when I say witch wound, I don't mean people necessarily who have been witches. It's possible, but anybody who did any kind of shamanic healing, divination, all of these things that so many of us do now, they all would have been considered witchcraft, and they all would have been punished. And we all would have had trauma around it, because if you didn't get punished yourself, you were forced to watch other people being punished. This is in Europe for sure, in the medieval ages, but it went on for a really, really long time until in the end it all stopped. There's a lot of wounds and a lot of energies still held in the collective unconscious of our cultures. There's the clearing of that ancestral karma. That's, that's a whole conversation in itself. And then the opening of the heart chakra. They are really, really focused on helping us open up our heart chakras. So these are the things that they do. They weave us into the lineage. As we rebirth this ancient wisdom, they surround us with the support and love that we need. They teach us how to work with the magic of the Ascended Gaia, nature energy, nature magic, and star energy, star healing. So much of these energies from our galaxy come through Venus. Venus is closer to us. She's the closest to us. And she seems to be a sort of a jumping off point where the energies come in there and then come through Venus, and she sends them to us, to our hearts. And the Blue Rose are here to align us with our Sophia Christ consciousness, because that's our destiny. That's where we're going. So just take a moment and feel into your heart. Just sink down a little into your body, allowing yourself to receive these teachings, receive this wisdom. All is well. All is well. All is well. Pamela says, I've been heavily witch hunted in this life and accessed 2 past lives where I was also witch hunted. Been integrating these wounds more and more to receive the wisdom. This is such powerful work, and something I've been working with, as I'm sure many of you have as well, for decades now. And it's like spirals, you know, you think, oh, it's probably done now. And then you come up to another spiral. And then there's another layer. We have the past life layer and the cultural layer, the collective unconscious layer. And this year I did a Healing the Witch Wound with the Blue Rose Lineage class. And that was incredible. What came through with that was I did a reading when they first sort of said to do it. And I was really surprised because a lot of the cards were about the divine masculine. And I was like, my husband, he is trained as a Jungian psychoanalyst, and Jungians, they work a lot with this archetype of the feminine and of the masculine. And he said, well, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because it was the wounded masculine that was causing the problems. And, you know, when you've received trauma from the wounded masculine, you then hold an imprint in yourself of the wounded masculine. These weren't the words that he used. He said it in Jungian speak. This is sort of my interpretation of what he said. And I was like, oh God, yeah. Because I was thinking it would be the divine feminine that stepped forward to heal the witch wound. And actually, a lot of it was the divine masculine, because, and it was around April, there was a really strong solar eclipse and loads of solar codes came through. And I thought, I get this. So many of us still holding, of course, this wounded masculine, which is the patriarchy. The patriarchy is the wounded masculine. Of course, it's not the divine masculine. The divine masculine's lovely and beautiful and gorgeous and fantastic. And the other half, of course, of the divine feminine. And so in this class session healing that came through with the Blue Rose lineage, it was all these divine masculine codes that came in to like reorder the template in us. And it was beautiful. It was really, really, really beautiful and really strengthening, because we need that divine masculine. If we are going to be complete beings, we need that divine masculine, totally. And that's also there in the Blue Rose. I haven't put that in the slides, but that color blue just holds feminine and masculine qualities. It's there in the color. And so there's this idea of unity and the sacred marriage and the balance in us, like holding both sides of that energy. And that's what we need to really anchor these energies on the earth. We need the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And I'm doing that because there's a rune called Gifu. And these are Nordic runes that I'm talking about, Scandinavian runes. And Gifu traditionally means gift. but I have worked with the runes and channeled like meanings for the blue rose. And the blue rose rune, Gifu, it's the sacred marriage. And this is what it looks like. It's a cross where you have both those energies and you hold both of them. And that is what we need to anchor in all of our potential, all of our divine embodiedness. And I can't remember if this was on the list of what the Blue Rose have come to do, but it's certainly in there. It's to help us find these unique gifts, often hidden away as your deepest heart desires. And Mary Magdalene is so key to this. She helps us find and do the emotional work that we need to do to bring through our deepest heart's desires, our passions. And I have many sets of oracle cards. This is a very beloved one. It's Izzy Ivy, her artwork. And this is a card in that pack. And she says, if we all did what we truly excelled in and enjoyed, our talents and abilities would enable our communities and our planet to thrive. That is so true. I feel that so, so strongly. It's something that I can feel within myself. And I wrote down her quote because she said it so well. She said it much better than I can, but I can feel it. And since I was a kid, and I kind of put this together later in life, because when I was a kid, I just felt it. I didn't know what was going on. But when I was a kid, I could feel like it's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be like this. And that was about where I was growing up, the life I was living, my family of origin. Things were so far from what I could feel inside. And what Izzy Ivy has said there is held within this circle of light that I had and have inside of myself of, yeah, no, this is what it's supposed to be like. If we all were living our deepest heart's desires that are in alignment with the divine will, this world would be amazing and beautiful. The rune that I just mentioned, so I have learned, I've studied Nordic shamanism in Sweden. I live in Denmark, and I've learned the Scandinavian names for them. So I might use names and spellings that are unfamiliar to some of you if you've learnt like the Germanic names, but Gifu is spelled Gifu, and you can find it on the internet. And that's the name of the rune that holds the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Can I share the screen again? Yes, I can. If there's any other questions about other things, Sue, I can see you've asked about Lilith. Ask me at the end. Let me just share that screen again, and I'll be able to have a tune into that. Here's the screen again. I can't remember the name of the pack, but if you look up Izzy Ivy's webpage, I'm sure it's on there. If we all did what we truly excelled in and enjoyed, our talents and abilities would enable our communities and our planet to thrive. Blessed be, amen. Just feel that support around you. I would really love it if Izzy made a Blue Rose Lineage set. So feels like her energy was just like, would match that so well. So I want to lead you in an exercise now. For stepping into your sacred sovereignty with the blue rose. So again, if you're somewhere where it's safe to do so, this is a good time to close your eyes. And this is something you'll be able to do whenever you want to. It's very, very simple. So just bring around you a circle of the Blue Rose lineage. I have a 6-month training that I do. And in that, you get to use a symbol for the Blue Rose lineage, which is amazing. But you can also work very powerfully with it by just having that intention of bringing the circle of the Blue Rose lineage around you. If you like working with Sarah, she's the keeper of the Blue Rose flame. And she's amazing at helping us come into alignment. So if you're aligned with Sarah, bring her in. If you're not familiar with her and you don't want to, that's fine. Leave her out of it. But you're standing in the center of the circle of the Blue Rose lineage, and they are pouring their blue rose light into you. And then in this image, imagine that the stars are above your head. And beneath your feet is the earth, the Ascended Gaia. And feel or imagine their presence. Feel the stars above you. You might even want to open your crown chakra if it feels right, to the starry skies above. And then feel yourself rooted into the Ascended Gaia beneath you. So you're connecting upwards into the Ascended Cosmos and downwards into the Ascended Gaia. And what happens when you do this is you start to come into alignment. It's a bit like if you imagine like your spine and your chakra system, the flow starts to straighten out. And when we achieve kind of perfect alignment and perfect flow, that's when we become fully embodied. And having the earth beneath our feet and the cosmos above our heads, and then our beautiful heart center in the middle. So when you're standing in your sacred sovereignty, say to yourself, I stand in my sacred sovereignty. And if you like, you can imagine that Gaia is looking up and seeing you. If you like, you can imagine that Gaia, our beautiful Mother Earth, is looking up and seeing you. And notice how she sees you. What do you look like to her? What kind of person does she see? How does she see your qualities? What does she love and value about you? Just notice how she sees you. Just notice how she sees you. Feel those stars above your head. Feel the earth beneath your feet and feel yourself held between the two. Feel yourself held and connected to heaven and earth by the beautiful energy of the blue rose. And hold your hands in front of your heart and breathe the blue rose energy in deeply. Hold your hands in front of your heart and breathe blue rose energy in deeply. This is one of the exercises that I teach in the lineage of the blue rose. 6 months training. We've been gifted some really powerful exercises that have a very deep effect upon our energy bodies, upon our emotional bodies. And we're so blessed that so many of us are receiving these teachings now. But just feel yourself coming back a little bit from that exercise. If you want to share something in the chat, that would be lovely. I can share it to the group. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the blue rose flame. And like I said, you could also call this the blue rose ray or the blue rose light. The flame is the purest essence of the blue rose. And this is where I started working with the energy, because one of the things that I do is create and bring through initiations. I am a doorway or a portal for other people to receive these energies when they're wanting to do that. And we all have these energies inside of us already. And sometimes we can just access them straight away. I'm sure you've had things in your life where things just happened like that. And then sometimes it's nice to experience somebody holding that space for you and facilitating it coming through. It's a bit like receiving initiations. If you've ever had that as a healer or a Reiki practitioner or as a priestess, well, I kind of work in the same way, using symbols and energies, and it's just something that's been very natural to me to do. I open up to spirit and these things just kind of happen. So this is what Sarah said. It gives me great joy to talk to you about the order of the Blue Rose. Now is the time for this lineage to be opening up exponentially as it comes in all of its fullness and perfect divine timing, to keep the balance on the earth plane between the light and the dark, to give restitution to Gaia and all who live on her, bringing love, wisdom, understanding, and applying the healing balm of the divine. And so the initiation into the Blue Rose flame that I give facilitates a very easy access of that energy so that you become a living flame of the Blue Rose. And I'm just going to evaporate some essence here. So this is an essence that I make from the Blue Rose portal that opens up across the road. And I just have this little bottle here. I'm just going to send this out to all of you. Water is so connected to the Blue Rose. And just feel yourself receiving it. And then put your hands in front of your heart. Feel your heart opening. This is one of the heart opening things that I was talking about. They're here to open our hearts, this beautiful energy. I'm sending out to you. All is well. All is well. All is well. Breathe that energy into your heart. So here are some ways that you can work with the lineage of the Blue Rose, with the Blue Rose flame. You can call them in as a circle anytime you want to. Feel that support around you. Another really easy way to do it is to just have a Blue Rose image. You can find lots of them on the internet. I have this lovely one here where it's kind of glowing. And all you need to do is just focus your attention on it and breathe it into your heart. Just focus your attention on it and breathe it into your heart. If you haven't already signed up for it, I have a Blue Rose goodie bag on my online school, and you can find that on my website. If you go to rachelgoodwin.dk and then go onto the Blue Rose page, you can see that goodie bag on there. And that has some really nice things on there as well. I know a lot of you are here through the work that I do on Patreon, and I've put that Blue Rose Flame initiation on there. You can find that. And I will send out the link for that as well. It's a beautiful initiation. And as I said, you become a living flame of the Blue Rose, and you can send out healing from that flame. You can put it into water. You can surround yourself in the energy. It's very beautiful and very powerful initiation. So I think we must be becoming, let me just have a look, near to the end now. Oh, I'll just show you this. This is one of the reviews that I had recently. This is from a lovely lady I know called Lara. And she said the initiation said it was so powerful, she actually couldn't explain or say anything. about it, which I kind of loved. Actually, I kind of loved that. I just wanted to share that was one of the reviews that I got for that initiation. Pamela's saying here, Golden Gaia Sophia sees me as a golden beacon of light, leading the way forward as an emanation of golden source, embodied illuminated love, inner child play and bliss, wise priestess bringing forth the sacred as wound chalice and an embodiment of rose and bee medicine. I love that. And yes, when we take that perspective of seeing ourselves through the wisdom and clear sight of Gaia, she sees us as we truly are. And we see those incredible parts of ourselves. So it's a beautiful, beautiful practice to do. Candice said beautiful, thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Blue Rose 6-month training. Because in this, we have put together quite a number of beautiful wisdom teachings, powerful tools, and we have a new training starting next month. I do this once a year. I will keep teaching it all the time. There's people who are wanting to do it because I love doing this work so much. It's really a process. I mean, yeah, there's things that I teach you. We have the Blue Rose Oracle rune set that we work with. There's specific meditations, specific things that I teach. But the most powerful thing is actually the practices of working with the symbol and being woven deeply into the lineage of the Blue Rose. They really address a lot of these problems that we have. Working with the lineage symbol, we have an ancestor altar, and they kind of weave a body of light around us so that we're lifted away from too much heaviness from our ancestral past. Yes, ancestral healing happens. Yes, it's great, it's wonderful. But where we are right now, it's not possible to clear the whole lineage in one lifetime. So it's like a divine act of grace that gives you a certain amount of divine protection so that you're not carrying so much heaviness from that. Being woven into the lineage of the Blue Rose so deeply, it changes you. I've changed. I experience myself more as myself. I'm not so easily entangled in what's going on out there. I'm not distant from it. I'm not disassociated from it, but I have much more clarity of vision. And so many of us haven't had the support that we've needed from our family of origins. I'm not saying that we all come from dysfunctional families. I'm sure there's some of us that haven't, that are listening. But the societies that we live in are very dysfunctional. So to have this web, beautiful net of light around us is just incredible. In the training, we receive lots of healing, lots and lots of healing from them for past lives, for the witch wound. And specifically, I've kind of called it the Blue Rose wound, because in many of those lifetimes where we were working with those blue rose energies, we experienced trauma then as well. And when we start to work with it now, we can hit a lot of shadow stuff and a lot of challenges. So it's really good to work with them very consciously so that we can really step into our power. This is all about really stepping into our power and becoming who we truly are. Now I'm just going to tune in one more time and just see, before we go on to any questions and any extra stuff that wants to come through at the end. Just want to see if they've got anything else that I've missed. Yeah, they're just saying about the individual support that comes through. We work very much in the training with having an individual mentor. One of the Blue Rose will step through and kind of be your person. They might not stay with you for like from now until you finish working with the Blue Rose, but they're your key person for some time because there's something they particularly have that you need right now and support you on a very, very individual level. And that's quite interesting for a lot of people because it's not always who you think it's going to be, and is quite a powerful and beautiful experience. So I am going to stop for a few minutes so we can have a comfort break. If anybody has to go now, you're welcome to, but if you want to stay and have a bit more of a chat, ask some questions, then we can carry on for another 20 minutes. But I'll just stop briefly for a few moments and then come back again. Candice has to go. Thank you for being here, Candice. It was really lovely. Bye-bye. All right, so I'm just gonna, here you go.
Hi. Yeah, I was really I felt like this very deep body ping when you talk about Vishnu earlier, because he's been coming. I mean, he and Krishna have been like popping into my life every now and then. I mean, in Singapore, like there's lots of temples and stuff that venerate the two of them, and I'm always drawn to the temples when it's their birthday for these two beings. And what I receive about them is that they're both connected to Sirius, they're both connected to the Blue Ray. Vishnu, very connected to our inner waters and hence connected to the Blue Rose, right? And last year, I actually was called to go to this holy temple. I forgot the name, in Bali. It's up a volcano. And there were like different, I guess, shrines or smaller temples within this large temple. Excuse the dogs in the background. And yeah, and I wasn't drawn to any of the other temples except the Vishnu one. So I'm actually really curious what you have received about Vishnu and his relationship as a Blue Ray being with the Blue Rose. So I'm quite curious to hear about that.
Yeah, so he's come up for me like a few times over the years. Like, it's like I'll be reading something and I'll see his name and it's like somebody suddenly turned the volume up like 100%, like to full. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? And I mean, what's come through to me is, so I work, you know, for many years, my main work has been with Sarah. And she has come through, and this actually came through to another channel because I had a feeling, but I was thinking, oh, I would think that because I work with her. It came through to another channel that she is the keeper of the Blue Rose flame. And when I read what this other person had said about this, I was like, oh my God, I knew she was central to it, but I couldn't, you know, like when you think, oh, perhaps I'm just feeling that because I want to, you know, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So the whole Vishnu thing, so this story about, you know, he sends down avatars of himself. I see Sarah as being one of those avatars. And, you know, but I'm very aware that through a lot of people, they see her as kind of a Christian energy. And that talking about Vishnu might, like, how does that fit in? But I mean, to me, I don't really do religions. all of us, all of the gods, goddesses, we're all aspects of the divine. We're all stories of the divine, you know. And that was another thing that Thomas Ashley Farran spoke about. He said all the stories of the Hindu gods and goddesses is just to explain to people what the divine is, you know, because like if they were to explain all of those divine qualities, you would forget them straight away. Whereas if you tell a story about a person, you remember the story, because that's how we see it. We need things to be personified, basically. So to me, the fact that, like with the Blue Rose and with Sarah, there's all these different spiritualities and religions all crisscrossing, and just it all works really, really well for me. And but I can't say much more about it. It's just like that just comes through like so strong about Vishnu, is that it's him that sends down like Sarah, and it's him behind these. So one of the things that came through really early on with the Blue Rose, they called themselves helpmeets. And that is actually a biblical term. And yeah, I mean, I did study the Bible at school, you know, I took it for my exams and all the rest of it. And I was thinking, help me, what's a help me? I know that sounds familiar. And I looked it up and looked at the sort of translation of it. And it said rescuer. It's a rescuer. And so they're like rescuers, because we are in pretty dire times, you know. Sometimes I don't think we realize how dire, because like it's a bit too much and a bit too overwhelming, but they are such a balance to that, such a powerful blessing for us, basically. And there's something really cohesive about them, where it all just like weaves together, so that we're really, really held. Because of course we love all of these energies. It's not that any one of them is something wrong. It's just that somehow with the Blue Rose lineage, it just creates this container that is just perfect for us right now, that are working with this energy, I guess. I don't know if any of that speaks to you, Pamela.
No, yeah, I think as you were speaking, like, yeah, it all resonates with me. I'm all about, for me, I also started out being an atheist, simply because, not because I didn't believe in God. I think I didn't believe in the way God was portrayed to me through traditional religions. Like I always saw it as like a much broader, like they are all different emanations of the divine that lead us back to the path, remembering we are divine within. And just now when we were talking about it, actually I remembered my time in that temple in Bali last year. And then like, so Vishnu was like talking to me, and so I understand on a deeper level. So because Vishnu works with the darkness, the void, our inner waters. And earlier on you talked about Mary Magdalene and how she like clears. So it makes sense. I mean, like, I think the key like person I've been working with, or key energy essence I've been working with, is Mary Magdalene. And just now when you were speaking, I was also getting the download from that temple that yeah, it's because like Mary Magdalene and Vishnu, they both help clear our inner waters of blockages, right? So that we can come closer to our remembrance of our divine essence, of who we really are as living embodiments, breathing as love, which is what we've all forgotten, like love in its much broader sense. So yeah, that's what I received as you were speaking. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I would love to go to a temple of Vishnu and Bali. That's been on my list of like really, really want to go to for like so many years. I hope that I get to do that. I hope I get to do that sometime. But really, I know the temples are really beautiful in Bali. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. A couple of things. I was asked about the channeling of Mount Shasta, and it's this book here. It's called Discovering Kuan Yin, Buddhist Goddess of Compassion, and it's by Sandy Boucher or Boucher. I've put it in the chat. Yeah, well, yeah, the lady asked me, and also, so would you say Shiva is also part of the Blue Rose Lineage?
I don't know. I'd have to sit with that. I'd have to sit with that.
I actually can answer that.
Oh, okay.
So I worked with Shiva and Kali a lot, as well as Goddess Pele from Hawaii, even though I've never been there.
Mm.
So when you ask that question, I love that you asked that question because I've never made the connection between Shiva, Kali, and the Blue Rose before. But as you ask the question, it's like your question wove the thread of resonance that was always there. And it ignited in me as you spoke those words, you know, because I think deep down in you, you know, there's a resonance, you know, there's a weave, there's a thread, there's a ribboning, right? Throughout all of that. So what I
Well,
received was, huh?
well, it's if Vishnu is part of it, there's no reason why Shiva shouldn't be part of it.
Yeah, why is he left out, right? Yeah, so what I received was that Kali, because Kali destroys, not destroys, Kali burns away, because destroying is different from burning away. Because burning away with the fire, there is a transmutation. There isn't an essence of destroying, which is very different. So she burns away like a lot of illusions of ego, right? So we can come closer to remembering who we are. Shiva as well, for me as an energy, is so she's like the divine feminine, right? That helps us cut through our own bullshit and see through our own shadows, see through our own egos that we've been conditioned and internalized. So similarly, Shiva as a divine masculine energy, he dances in the fires. He helps us sit in the fires of who we are, sit through the fires of all the illusions and helps us burn it away through more movement. For me, Kali is quite a cutting energy. If you can imagine, like a black, for me, her energy is like a volcanic black obsidian blade that cuts. He is sitting in the middle of the fire of who we are and burning away the illusions by dancing and moving through them. And so all of that energy is related to the Blue Rose because to get to the remembering the essence of the Blue Rose, remembering the order of the Blue Rose, the remembrance of the essence within us, we need to burn all that away. And Kali and Shiva, to me, are divine counterparts within us that help us burn that away and come closer to our remembrance.
And this, I mean, this is the thing. Those energies that we've worked with in past lives that are connected to the Blue Rose, they tend to be the ones where we feel it the strongest. And that's why, so when you said to me about Shiva, I was like, I'd have to sit with that because like I never do these things because it's like, oh, that's what I think. I have to experience it. And of course, the ones that I've experienced the strongest, or the other people that I've worked with have experienced the strongest, they're the ones that they have that soul connection to. So we all have like different sort of inroads into the Blue Rose. And yeah, we can connect with and feel that whole lineage around us, and it's so powerful. But it's probably going to be maybe 5 or 6 of them that you work with the most, you know. And I'm not sure I've had this. I've never felt drawn to Shiva, you know. I
Yeah.
haven't. It's not because I think there's anything wrong. It's just there's just certain chants that stand out for me, and I do obsessively because I have to, you know, and I really think that's all about, you know, those different past lives that we get drawn
Yeah.
to.
I mean, I feel drawn to Lilith as well, you know, because she's the you know, the primal feminist, really. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah. I would say Sarah has a lot of Lilith energy. You know, Sarah's the daughter archetype. She's not taking any shit off anyone.
yeah,
She's not beholden to any man. She's not in that mother energy. She's like young woman in her power. And yeah, she's a rebel.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've come across Dark Moon Lilith, you know, which is in astrology, you know, but I think she's like sort of the arch ancestor, really, of Magdalene, of the sort of malign
Yeah.
feminine, really, and you know, anything that the patriarchy has rebelled against is, you know, is represented by Lilith, and then down
Yeah.
the line, Mary Magdalene. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I gather I think it was in the 50s or 60s, one of the popes actually publicly exonerated Mary Magdalene and acknowledged that lies had been told about her, you know. But funnily enough, that I would say world moving event hasn't been mentioned an awful lot, you know, but that is major stuff, really, you know. But the church fathers, the brotherhood, they've preferred to hold on to the old image, you know, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Sue. We've just got a few minutes left. Is there anybody who'd like to speak that hasn't said anything? Nicole, hi.
Hey, I wanted to thank you for this. While you were talking, particularly about the witch hunts in Europe, it things started to connect for me. And as a person of African descent living in America, I was thinking about how that looked like for people of African descent, right? Particularly those that were taken from the African continent and brought to the Americas, right? So our religions were deemed evil, you know, and black magic. And there's a lot of people of African descent who are still afraid of these religious traditions,
Yeah.
right? And are not connected to them and may demean it themselves when it's in their bloodlines, right? So I'm about to do a rose dieta. It starts today, and while I was making my rose tea, Yamoja, who is a Narisha or a spirit from the Yoruba in Nigeria, what was Yoruba land, she was with me. She was with me stirring it. And I started singing songs. I'm a daughter of Yamoja. So she started stirring the the pot with me, and I was just singing songs to her and songs to the rose in general. And so I was like, this is interesting that she's showing up. I feel like she's connected to this lineage. And then while you were talking, like it hit me that I feel like part of my purpose is kind of restoring the beauty of these African and Afro-Caribbean religious traditions. The beauty, the majesty, the power of all of that. So I thank you. And talking about, you know, the witch hunts of Europe and what it kind of sparked within me of the witch hunts of Africa. You know, so thank you for helping me to draw those connections.
You're welcome, and thank you for sharing that. And there's a really great British guy who's written a book all about witch hunts all across the world, and it seems like they've happened just about in every culture at different times, and of course are still happening today. And yeah, so it is really global. And yeah, Yamoja, yeah, she has come up really strongly for me with the Blue Rose. I didn't have her on that list, and I'm really glad that you've reminded me of that, because I love her energy, and she has such a strong connection with the sea and with the water, and it's just oh, so beautiful. I really, really love her. So thank you for bringing that through again. And yeah, thank you everybody. I will put this replay up on the Patreon website. You'll be able to access it there. And yeah, if you have anything else you want to share, just write on there or send me a message. Or thank you all for coming. Lots of love, everybody. Bye for now. Bye.